What's going on, good people? Welcome to a very special video on how to manifest love. It's Mr. Meyer with the Fire, here to take the collective vibration higher. This is a timeless video. Feel free to take in this information, use what's applicable, and discard the rest, or customize it to your liking. There is a full moon in the sign of Libra coming up on April 12th, 2025. So I'm putting this out here now so people can gather their supplies and get ready to use this working in correspondence with the energies that are coming up in a couple weeks. So I'm very excited to share this energy with you. There is about a 3-step process to manifesting love. And I also want to specify that this could be romantic love, self-love, world love. Love, like any word, encases an idea. Words are limiting by their nature. So it's worth saying many people don't get what they want in life because they don't really know what they want in life. And like inflation, where we print so many dollars that the dollar becomes less valuable. You know, when you say, oh, I love my dog, or I love these chips, or I love you so much, it just starts to mean less and less and less at times, or it could potentially. So it's great to define the outcome, because again, you can customize this to your liking. But anyway, the 3-step process. Number 1, we're going to release and make space. It's like this desk, this table. If I want to get a new desk, I have to get rid of the old desk, because I can't be like stacking desks on top of desks, or like maybe you could have like super desk or whatever. But number 2, decide what you want. We just talked about this. And number 3, make a space for it and get after it. Will it into existence, okay? So I've got some pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of tools, a lot of preparation, but I really encourage you to make this simple, customize it to your liking. I also want to preface, you will have to talk to people in order to make this happen. And you'll have to talk to yourself. So if that's okay, stick along. And I also want to say, because I've shared, magic before, this is magic. This is technically witchcraft. Magic by definition is creating change in accordance with your will. It's a willed act that creates change. And I've just seen like a few comments in my past videos where they like what I'm saying, and then they're like, but I don't know about this witchcraft stuff. So I'm just letting you know now, this is magic. This is witchcraft. So if you're okay with the heat, come in the kitchen, let's cook. So the first thing we're going to do, like I said, is release and make space. So we have a friend. I'm going to introduce you. Some of you guys may already know, but this is called basil. Basil is a very powerful plant, and we're going to use herbs, crystals, astrology, spirits to make this shit shake. Are you down to clown? So basil is a love herb. Fun fact, basil corresponds with the element of fire. And what does fire do? Fire family, fire burn, fire hot, Fire transforms, fire reduces things to ash, fire consumes a fuel and reduces it. So we're going to use the energy of basil to remove anything that might be blocking up the heart space, whether this is past connections in love, attachment that we might have to other people, or this could just be pains from our personal experience with the past. This could be thought forms, concepts, and ideas that need to be removed. We're going to burn it with the basil. So here's how we're going to do it. There's basically 2 ways I'm going to give it. Well, maybe I might come up with more than 2, but the method is a basil bath. Basil bath, write that down. Okay, so the basic way to do this is you're either going to make a basil tincture or a basil tea. I think a basil tea is probably easier for most people, because you will literally just take these basil leaves. You can buy these at the grocery store, the dried basil, and you'll just boil it in a pot of water. And you only need maybe a couple tablespoons, like 2 tablespoons. If you're using fresh basil, I would double that, do about 4, and then strain out the leaf after you've boiled it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You should see the water turning kind of like green and darker, because you're steeping the basil into the water. And also, when you do magic, everybody, do everything with intention. So you do well to call to the spirit of basil. I call to the spirit of basil. Blessed be. Will you please bless me with your fire, with your love, to remove anything from my heart that does not serve me, to free and liberate my heart from past connections and attachments, so I can receive the love that I truly desire most. blessed be. And then I would hold the basil in my hand and I would breathe that energy in and I would feel it in my heart. Because, you know, magic is really powerful, guys. Imagine the magician card. You know, you got the fire, the water, the air, and the earth, the cup, the chalice, the wand, the blade. You know, these are metaphors for your internal tools, but they are very useful. So I'm just making a point to say, you know, when you use your word, your sword, you're verbalizing, calling the spirit, saying what you want. When you're imagining it, you're using your fire, your sight, your flame. When you are feeling it, that's the cup. You know, so I just want to also say, you know, your emotions is the cup on the altar of your soul. So hopefully you're seeing what I'm saying. So we bless these herbs. You're either going to, again, do the basil tea or the basil tincture. The basil tincture, I think, can also be very powerful, potentially more powerful, but it does take a little more preparation because you'll want to steep this. But if you are using this method, and you want to add a little more preparation, a little more power, what I would do is take your basil and take it in a glass jar and fill it with isopropyl alcohol, 90% or more, or you could use, you know, high proof alcohol like Everclear. And you basically will distill this, do the same thing and consecrate your herbs. And you would want to steep this tincture for at least a week, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a whole month. And if you want to incorporate astrological timing into this method, you would start your tincture in the waning moon, either right after the full moon. You could really do it any day, frankly, guys. Like, don't get too technical or too like pedantic about this stuff. Your intention and showing up is really what matters the most. But if you really want to line everything up, I would do it on the waning moon, because the waning moon is about releasing. Or like the full moon, because that's when we're about to pop and release. Or, you know, so like, right, you get the idea. It could be, it could literally be the waxing moon or the new moon, anytime you want to do it. But if you want to add more correspondence, like maybe right after the full moon or like right before the new moon, when the moon is like very much a sliver or a crescent, okay? So once you make the tincture, or you decide to go the tea route, what you're actually gonna do is a bath. And you're gonna add the tincture or the tea to your bath. And like I said, if you go the tea route, you're gonna strain this out. So you're not adding a bunch of herbs to your bath. And technically you could do that, but my witches know you end up kind of clogging your drain, and that's not fun. So as like a side note, if you guys do wanna do herbal baths, it's worth getting like a tea ball or, you know, a coffee filter, making yourself like your own little tea bag when you add the herbs. And it's worth adding other herbs if you want. You know, basil is really going to be the heavy hitter for this work, but you could also add rose. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but rose is a very powerful love herb, which most of us are well aware of, because roses are beautiful and they're delicious and they smell amazing, and they've also got thorns, you know, so it's, I could talk your off about rose, and we probably need to make another video on itself about this, but it's very Venus, very Mars energy. And I say that to also say, this is the perfect time to do this working, friends, because we are in the season of Aries. We just had our Aries new moon, and then we have our Libra full moon next, which is ruled by Venus, which is all about balance, relationships, harmony, and love. Perfect time to do this working. So anyway, 7 days, you're gonna do this basil bath. And if I were you, if you're doing it with me, you know, this year in 2025, after the full moon in Libra hits, maybe even that night, we'll start day number 1. And you're gonna take 7 baths once a night. And you're gonna put this basil tea or tincture within the bath. And you'll even bless the bath water. Make sure you clean the bath before, of course, but set your intention to release anything that doesn't serve you. And it's worth noting, guys, that everybody's going through a different thing in their personal life. So you'll want to take aligned action in this 7-day process as we go through the full moon to the waning last quarter. You know, if you have possessions from ex-lovers that you're still holding on to, or certain phone numbers, or maybe you've had relationships that have already served their purpose, you know, it may be worth getting your closure, deleting pictures, deleting numbers, whatever you have to do to really make that space in the physical, in the emotional world, in the mental world, and get yourself ready for more love. So we're gonna use this time to let go. And you really have to process the emotions and feel them. And we're going to talk about this extensively in a moment, but truth is so important when it comes to love. Compassion really does require empathy. And we don't just want any love. We want great love, not good love, like great love, something that's really in alignment with our true core and values and heart. Does that sound good? Because that sounds like music to my ears. So we're going to also build a connection with the goddess of love, Aphrodite, Ishtar. There's many different gods and goddesses of love, and you can do your own research. And some of them may call to you more than others. And I want to say, basically, back on the thought of maybe not everybody is comfortable with magic and spirit working. So I want to say there's basically two schools of thought. On one side, people will look at these gods and goddesses and deities as actual spirits like you and me that are conscious and alive and sentient. But also, there's a more psychological model in which people may believe that these may be concepts or aspects of the psyche in which humans create or project and anthropomorphize our natures. There's a concept called egregore, which says thought forms have energy. Everything is energy. So when enough people think enough things, it takes on its own energy and life of its own. So what's really interesting is, there's probably been an age-old dilemma and debate. Do spirits really exist? And what's kind of interesting is, even if they don't, if enough people think about them, they definitely do. So you'll see that. So the point is, we want to build a relationship with these goddesses or gods or spirits, and they can really help us move things around. So I would really suggest maybe you look at it both ways. Like, come at it with the potential program that it could be a real spirit. Maybe this is part of you, and maybe there's some overlap between the 2 points, okay? Anyway, I also want to mention, because we're going down the line, rose quartz. Rose quartz, one of the best gifts that Mother Earth gave us, rose quartz. Rose quartz is a very inexpensive stone. Crystals are very powerful. Once again, everything is energy. Everything is vibration. So when you get a crystal, the vibration is very structured. And rose quartz, you guys know that color is just different frequencies of light. And colors will make us feel certain things. Have you noticed that most fast food restaurants have like red in their logos, makes us hungry or fills us with desire, or most social media is blue, and that communicates clarity and truth and connection, and pink is a very sweet and soft and gentle and loving and even romantic color. So I'm telling you guys, the rose quartz is very special. It's very powerful. And if you haven't tried it yet, you're going to need one. You're gonna need one, fam. Like, why would Mother Earth create this if we weren't supposed to use it and respect it and build a relationship with it and help us improve our lives? The rose quartz, it is corresponding to the energy of Venus with love, it's romance. It will vibrate with the frequency of unconditional love. And we talked about earlier how love is a very limiting word, as all words are, but this is unconditional love. This is love just because. It's love, divine love. This will take our human love, and a lot of times what humans call love is really nothing more than just attachment. And it's really worth noting that a healthy, successful relationship is built off of trust. Trust. A bunch of other things, and we'll unpack this in a second, but trust. So at the end of the day, we can't control others. Some would say we can through manipulation and lies and control, but that's not what you want. So we're not going to do that, so we don't attract that, right? So you have to trust yourself in order to trust other people, okay? Also, relationships need to be honest. You need to be clear with yourself, clear with other people. Communication has to flow both ways. Independence is a virtue. Dependence is a vice. It's interesting that we come into this world as a result of union. So there is somewhat of a paradox here, where in order to perpetuate existence and human survival, we have to mate and procreate. These are the facts. Until we engineer a different way to do it, That's how it's been for a long time. So there is a dimension, this primal part of the brain that says, oh, I need a partner. And you have to be understanding of that and validate it. I just want to illustrate that you will be okay if you never had a romantic partner in your whole entire life. Like, it doesn't intrinsically give you life. Hope that makes sense. I really believe, my friends, that in the right relationship with a person who has a similar vision, similar values, and similar interests, you are likely way better off with them than being by yourself, right? Because two heads are better than one if they're working together, right? I hope that makes sense. Because if it's not like that, it's not worth either person's time. But you just have to remember that your desire for love, your desire for attention, acceptance, is not your actual need for security within this life. This is really important to understand, my friends, because when our need for security gets confused with our desire for love and attention, things can get very confusing, very dangerous even, where instead of loving somebody, and we might even think it's love, it becomes attachment. We become possessive. We try to control, we try to manipulate. We might start to expect one person to do everything for us. We might start to neglect what we can do for ourselves. And when you put more and more expectation on somebody to do something, it's almost inevitably gonna collapse. So this is also why, circling back, it's really important to do this week-long release. And I don't wanna say that this is gonna be the magic wand. Magic is very powerful. For some people, you might have a really profound release on day one, but for some who have had really difficult experiences in love, don't put a timeline on your healing, is my point. Don't think that just because you did 7 days of baths that all the work is done. It's gonna help, but the inner work is real, okay? And the intention of this video is to kind of outline it, make it easier and more fun and exciting, okay? And frankly, for some people, the basil bath may need to be repeated, and that's totally fine. Frankly, I've done this multiple times in my life, and it's been great, and I love it. And shout out to Christopher Penczak. He has a book called The Witch's Heart. That's actually where I got this idea. I have to give credit where it's due. Anyway, vision, values, and interests, if we can align all three of these things, we can genuinely grow together with a person. If we have a discrepancy or a disconnection with vision, values, or interests, we end up kind of growing apart. Vision, values, and interests. And I want to shout out Alex Hormozy, Layla Hormozy, the power couple. They gave me this idea. All that really matters in a relationship, guys, is where are we going? That's the vision. How do you want to get there? That's the values. And what do we want to do in the meantime? That's the interest. If we can come together on those three things, we'll have a productive relationship. And that applies to more than just love. Anyway, let's talk about the heart now, because it looks like we're going to be healing and feeling and dealing with connection. So what's really important beyond the rose quartz is that you sit up straight. That you sit up straight and you don't round your shoulders. Okay? While we have an energetic heart, the heart chakra, the center of our love and connection, you have to understand that this is the infrastructure of our energetic body, and it sits enmeshed with the physical body. So if I slouch all the time, man, it's going to make it harder for energy to flow into my heart. And you guys know the heart is right next to the lungs. And it's interesting that the lungs are really one of the only organs that we have manual control over. You're now manually breathing. And you're breathing even deeper and deeper and deeper. And breath is life, so we breathe energy into the heart. And this is going to facilitate the healing process and even allow us to take more love into our lives. So my point is this, guys. If there are mechanical blockages in the spine because our posture is fucked up, you're also going to have mechanical blockages within the heart chakra and the energetic body. So it's worth sitting up straight, stretching your arms. In the modern sedentary lifestyle, most of us don't really move our shoulders beyond this little window right in front of us as far as things that we have to grab. So practice opening the heart. There's even heart opener yoga, and I would recommend you look at it on YouTube. That's a whole nother video for me to talk about. So go do your due diligence and, thread that needle or do the cat cow, the upward downward dog. If you go to the gym, sometimes one of the best things to open up the heart is literally just to grab onto a pull-up bar and let the weight of gravity decompress your spine and open you up a little bit, okay? I want to mention resistance bands as well. They make plastic bands or rubber bands that you can literally use to stretch yourself out. I forgot to grab mine while I was making notes for the video, but resistance bands. Resistance bands, resistance bands. I cannot emphasize this shit enough, guys. Resistance bands. Okay, we're going to talk about habits because the idea is you are love. So rather than looking at love as something to be attained externally, you have to work on becoming love internally. And once again, maximizing independence, minimizing dependence, and not getting confused. If you took one thing from this video, let it be this. Security comes from within. It doesn't come from without. And I digress. It's a very interesting time right now with Mars in the sign of Cancer. The lesson the universe is trying to teach us right now is that our security does come from within. So that's very powerful. You make yourself secure. Anyway, we sit up straight and we express gratitude. We're going to make sure our daily habits support a life of love. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Even if you've been dealt an unfair share of pain and suffering and sorrow, life is still a gift. And that's evident to you because you're still here. You love your life enough to be here. That's beautiful. So every day, practice gratitude. Make a habit of being grateful in the morning and the night. And it's weird how the law of attraction works and the principle of vibration works, where when we focus on something, we end up attracting more of it. So in order to be more blessed, count those blessings. And be grateful for your life. Be grateful for the challenges, the blessings, the joy, the peace, all the feelings, even the sorrow. Be grateful for the life that you're living. And when you are hurting, add meaning to this pain and add thanks to it anyway. I also want to tell you daily meditation is so powerful, guys. How are we going to build inner security? We're going to tap into our inner world through meditation. So you're going to adopt the habit of daily meditation. And one of the best ways to do this is to set a timer on your phone, whether it's 5 minutes or it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But here's the fun part, guys. We have chakras, and we've talked about this. Chakra is Sanskrit for wheel. It means an energetic organ or vortex. And there's 7 primary chakras from the base of the spine to the top of the head. And there's actually a lot of minor or tertiary chakras inside the body, and we have very powerful ones on the palms of the hands. Have you ever stubbed your toe or bumped your elbow and instinctively grabbed it? Like, the question is, why does that feel good? Why do we do that, and why does it help? The idea is there's an energy center right there, and it actually will help us direct energy. And it's worth mentioning the physical correspondence. The nerves are the most concentrated within the hands too, so that's something that also reflects this. But the point that I'm getting at is in these daily meditations, whether it's 5 minutes or 45 minutes, you're going to take your hands and place them on your heart center. Shift your awareness within, deepen your breath, straighten your back, and understand while you're doing this, you're literally loving yourself. You're not waiting for love to come from outside of you. You're giving yourself love. This is priceless. It's hard to love yourself when you don't know how to do it. I'm showing you how to do it. So do this every single day and thank yourself for doing it. And I want to say this and elaborate that one good deed deserves another. And for some, meditation can be very uncomfortable, especially for those that are processing pains and traumas and sadness and attachment and rage and bitterness and sorrow and loneliness, any love wound. And if this doesn't feel good when you do it, you have to thank yourself anyway, because what you're doing is releasing old karma. What you're doing is releasing the baggage. And it's like, oh, this is a gross example, but I think it really gives the point home. Let's say you had dislocated your shoulder. I cringe saying it. Getting it readjusted is probably going to hurt a little bit too. But that pain doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, because everything's moving back into place, right? Sometimes healing hurts a little bit, so it's worth noting that, okay? So in your daily meditations, you're going to focus on the heart. It's also worth noting that back and chest exercises will strengthen the power of the body and the heart, okay? Back and chest exercises like push-ups or pull downs or stretching, once again, yoga, isometric exercises, body weight, calisthenics, strengthen your body. Powerful people have powerful bodies, resistance bands. Next, we're going to talk about mirror magic. This is something to incorporate within your life. Mirror magic. The real work starts when you appreciate the person you see in the mirror. So as a habit, beyond gratitude and meditation, you're going to make a practice of acknowledging yourself every time you see yourself in the mirror, in the morning or before you go to bed, when you start your day and take your vitamins and brush your teeth, or when you go to bed and brush your teeth and wash your face and stuff like that. I mean, and there's a whole nother video about mirror magic and, you know, bathroom magic and stuff like that. But the point that I'm really trying to drive home with this one is that you're going to use the mirror to talk to yourself, to deepen your relationship with yourself. Mirrors are very Libra energy. It's very Venus energy. It reflects. It shows you who you are. The key with this one is honesty. So the challenge I have for everybody watching this video is when you go into the mirror, you're going to acknowledge yourself. And that's going to look like, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. You're going to say hi to yourself. Or why, hello, beautiful person. You look sexy. Say hi to yourself. Acknowledge yourself. And then what I want you to do is talk to yourself. Just pretend that you're a person. Oh, shit, you are a person. Maybe pretend that that's a different person on the other side of the mirror. So you want to initiate a dialogue, a conversation. You may have things that you want to say instinctively to yourself, but what I want you to do is get in the habit of listening to yourself. This is a very simple trick and it's profound. I want you to go in the mirror, say hi to yourself, acknowledge yourself, and then ask yourself, how are you doing? And just wait a second and let the answer come from your heart, and then say exactly what's on your heart. And it's worth going a little bit deeper. Have you guys ever been going through some stuff and someone said, hey, how's it going? And you're like, oh, it's fine. You're like tore up on the inside. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm better than fine. I'm devastated, you know? Say, how are you really doing though? Be there for yourself. Love yourself. Talk to yourself. Speak love and life into yourself. Reassure yourself. I don't know what you guys are going through on the other side of the screen, but make sure that you are there for yourself. Love yourself. Honesty is super key. Just as it's important to be honest with other individuals, we have to be authentic with the person that we are. With all of our pain, with our shame, our anger, our resentment, our sadness, neglect, whatever we happen to be carrying as a cross. Be honest with it. Real heart to heart with yourself is the point. And then this is another part of the love magic. Buy yourself roses. And I really encourage you guys, just as the framework, taking a step back, if you are initiating the release, like this can be a profound working this whole video that may only take you part of a month, right? Like a couple weeks, and just low resistance, high leverage magic and energy work practices. You start that basil bath, 7-day release around the full moon. We let it go around the quarter moon, last quarter, or somewhere closer to the new moon. What we're going to do is buy ourselves roses. Roses are very beautiful. Roses, like I said, I could make a whole new video about this. This is great for love magic. It's great for purification. It's great for healing. It resonates with Venus and Mars. It's protective. Ooh, and roses are attractive. I could talk your off about this, man. Roses are attractive. As far as magic goes, this helps us bring things into our lives. So rose magic, you're going to want to get yourself a bouquet of roses in a little vase and put it somewhere beautiful. Maybe I would put it right by the door, your front door if I were you. Or your kitchen table or somewhere else significant, maybe an altar. Buy yourself some roses. And I also want to talk about flower essences, where it's great to use these herbs, whether it's in a tincture or a bath, or even appreciate it in our garden. But you can actually get essences of certain roses. And these are the Bach flower remedies. You can get these off the internet. And this is a oral tincture where you can ingest these. And of course, you're going to want to check your allergies and make sure that you are not, you know, putting yourself in danger when it comes to using these things. This Bach flower remedy is actually a non-alcoholic formula. It's vegan too. It's very beautiful. So you can take these right out the bottle. Like, shit, man, I'm gonna take some of this. I like the rose, but you can also add this to your teas. So rose, of course, is great for the love. It's great for beauty. It's great for attraction, everything like that. So if you, and this one tastes sweet actually. If you were like me, we're gonna use these essences while we do the bath. You know, we'll start to work with the energy of rose. Pardon me. I also wanna say, if you're really releasing some deeper stuff, I would recommend Black-Eyed Susan. This is a really good flower for releasing grief or pain or sorrow. And holly is another good one too if we have issues with jealousy or attachment or resentment or anger. Holly can be a really good one. As far as other crystals I feel the need to speak on, you know, of course, the rose quartz is really good for opening up the heart. Malachite is also really good for the heart. I will warn you guys, malachite is a little bit more punchy. It doesn't really feel the most gentle, but if you're really trying to get some leverage and open the fuck out of your heart, frankly, it's going to do that. You know, so I will say you may want gentler stones because this can be quite intense, the malachite, but it gets the job done. Rhodonite. Rhodonite is a really good heart opener, and it's pink with black spots. This one is really good for opening up the heart gently. Kunzite, almost any pink stone, of course, is going to be really good for love. Kunzite is a very high vibrational love stone. Morganite is a good one. Pearls are good. And calcite is a really good one. You also can use kyanite for cord cutting. Kyanite or selenite. Black kyanite is really my go-to for the cord cutting because this one doesn't take on any energy that's not its own. So I strongly recommend this one. I swear by the kyanite. And lastly, you know, these are great to keep in your repertoire, in your arsenal, and use them when you need them. And also I would say, if you're curious, how do I use these? Carry them around with you. Put them on your person. When you meditate and hold your hand on your heart, you can literally hold the crystals against your heart as you do these, or hold them in your hands. You can wear them as jewelry. There's a lot of ways to get the crystal healing. Lastly, we're gonna do a love spell and some sorcery. And this actually has some super powerful. It's tremendous. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. I've actually put this down myself and I'm excited to see you guys use it. So we're gonna use a candle spell. I would recommend a pink candle. It can be really any color, but I got this from the metaphysical shop, Adam and Eve, it's the lovers. You know, so use what makes sense to you. I like the 7-day candle because it burns for a while. It's great to put on the altar, and bigger is not always better, guys, but the idea behind a candle spell is the wax is gonna hold the intention that you put into it. So more wax, more power, right? So that's something to think about, but don't underestimate the power of like a little tea light or a birthday candle. That can do a lot too. Anyway, this is gonna be lit on the new moon, okay? Because the new moon is our new beginning and we're gonna really make that happen, okay? Pardon me. Give an offering to Aphrodite or any goddess or god of love or your spirit guides. And roses are a great offering, libations, drinks, candies, apples, strawberries, music, energy, song, dance, love yourself, acts of service. You know, these can be great offerings of love. So let's review the steps really quick because this is basically the end of the video. But what I'm about to give you is really one of the most powerful parts. The first thing we're going to do is work on releasing and opening up space. We're going to remove things from our life that holds us back from experiencing real love. It could be attachment, it could be stuff, it could be emotions, it could be traumas. We're going to let that go. Then number 2, we're going to get in the habit of practicing and being love, and then we're going to decide what we want from love in a relationship. And this could, like I said, be personal, independent, or it could be interpersonal with others. This could be romantic. Decide what you want. It's really worth taking the time to make a list, putting a pen on paper and writing, what do I want from a partnership, and getting very specific. I'm going to repeat this, guys. This is so important. Many people don't get what they want in life because they don't know what they want. And this universe is very neutral, some would say ambivalent, in a beautiful way, where it does give us what we ask for. And a lot of times we can fall short because we are not specific. So be specific and know that you deserve love. Know that you deserve a beautiful relationship that's substantial and positive and symbiotic and synergistic. What I mean is it's worth being into, and the total becomes worth more than the sum of the parts. If it's not like that, it's a waste of time, frankly. It really is. So after we decide what we want, we're going to do this love working and do some sorcery. Basically, what we're going to do is recognize sorcery in this ritual as a performative drama where we get in the energy of being in love and we send this energy into the world, the material world, and let it work out on our behalf into the spiritual planes of correspondence. That's how almost all ritual magic works. So the focus for this spell is going to be the candle, but we're going to use sorcery. We're going to be petitioning the goddess, and we're going to be using our internal tools like our fire, water, air, earth, our visualization, our words, our emotions, and our physical presence is going to be linking the magic into this world. So here's what we're going to do. We'll set up the altar. I strongly recommend you pick Aphrodite because she is the goddess of love, and bringing love to you makes her happy. So it's worth saying. When I mention giving an offering to the goddess, I really want to emphasize one of the best offerings you can give to any spirit is an open heart and respect. Don't feel like you can't do this if you can't get herbs or a candle. You can still do this, okay? Or if you have no bath to take, it's still gonna work if you come with an open heart and really give it your love, okay? So basically, I'm going to drop this down in the description or in the comments so you guys can copy this and use this, but I've written out a liturgy for working with the goddess of love, and I'm going to read it to you, and you're just literally going to take the candle, consecrate it like we talked about. If you have extra love herbs or oils, feel free to anoint the candle, but the most important thing is consecrating the candle, where you know what you want it is that you want, you know what it is that you want to experience within love, so much that you can see it and feel it, where you can generate that emotion of being nurtured and loved and appreciated. And what you're gonna do is see it, sense it, feel it, breathe it into the candle. Feel the candle. You should feel the candle change energetically in some way, shape, or form. You're gonna know when it's really charged. Sometimes when I'm doing love magic, you know, you can literally put the candle on your heart as far as proximity goes. Fill the candle with your energy. Imagine the candle being filled to the brim with that light, or the vision, putting it in there like a little snow globe inside of it or whatever. Okay, so you prepare the candle. You're gonna put this on the altar, add extra offerings to the goddess if you'd like. If you have a statue for her or an altar specifically for her, that's the best place to do this working, is to put the candle there and then start this working. And I really want to emphasize, but basically, I have so much information I want to share with you guys. If you want more details on how magic and witchcraft works, hit the link in the description and join Simplified Magic, because I'm trying to make this concise, but there's so much to talk about. So if you want to go even deeper into this, hit that link and grab Simplified Magic, and you'll thank yourself later. Prepare with cleansing your space. Purification rite. So even if you are done with the basil bath, it would probably be a good idea to take a bath or a shower before you do the working, because it cleanses your energy. It would be great to clean the room and vacuum and dust off the altar. One thing about Aphrodite is she does love things to be beautiful and neat and orderly and not gross and cluttered and weird. And you also are going to appreciate the cleanliness of it as well. So the cleansing and the purification rite is really, really a great idea. And, you know, it's worth mentioning, do be well rested, come with good energy, or just come however you are. It's really important to note in magic, you generally are going to get out what you put in. So we really want to put our whole heart and soul and our foot into this, right? Okay, so after the cleansing and purification rites are done, and you have the candle on the altar and you're ready to do the work, I'm gonna put it down in the description, but you're gonna do the call. I call to the goddess Aphrodite. And I'm taking a step back. I'm gonna repeat this in a second. I just started, but let me take a step back, guys. When you do this, again, visualization is one of your magical internal tools. So do your best to visualize the goddess Aphrodite. And pardon me, if there is a confusion whether she really exists or if you're projecting this out, doesn't really matter. The fact that you're visualizing or creating a vision of her will send this energy into the universe. Should she actually be real, she can take that visualization and use it as a throne, basically, in order to get into your aura. And even if you don't believe that, you can use this to send it, or both. So basically visualize her as you're saying this. And this is also why it helps to have a picture or a statue. Let's begin. I call to the goddess Aphrodite. Hail unto the goddess Aphrodite, the most beautiful goddess of all. Divine Mother of love everlasting and beauty eternal, I call to you for guidance. Be with me, goddess, share your light with me. Cloak me in the golden rays of the morning star. Wash away my imperfections in the wake of the gods. Burn my soul with the evening star and illuminate the black flame within. Let me be a reflection of your divine radiance in youthful splendor. Aphrodite, bless my heart, my mind, and my body. Bless the ground beneath me, in the air within my breath. Bless everything I see. Fill me with beauty, desire, and joy, and illuminate the path of sensuality so I may lust for life and long for divine will. Anasa caprice. These are epithets. I want to say this is Greek. These are different Greek names. That's the Queen of Cyprus. Anasa caprice, inspire me with your beauty. Epistrophia, show me how to love myself. Pandemos, teach me how to nurture this world. Patho, reveal to me the secrets of deception. Lead me to independence. Kalipigos, draw the desire of others towards me. Aphrodite Philandros, help me manifest all I desire and live my life to the fullest so I may become an example of the goodness that this world has to offer. Embrace me, goddess, share with me your secrets, indulge me in your love, and draw me close to you. Aphrodite, I invoke your spirit and I welcome you into my heart. Goddess, make love with me. This is the fun part. Basically, that's the call of Aphrodite. We're acknowledging her presence. We're giving her energy. We're showing respect. We're giving her love. This is the meat and potatoes of the working. This part right here. This is the mantra. And a mantra is something we can repeat and intone. And the vibration comes from our voice. This is actually adding the fuel to this working. And like I mentioned before, at this point, your candle should be pretty well charged and dressed. So if I were you, I would light the candle right as I do the mantra, right when I start the mantra. The mantra is Iya, Aphrodite, Iya, Iya. Iya, that's iota, which is the sun in Greek. These are Greek letters, I-A. Alpha is the moon. And if you notice how you feel when you say Iya, they come from different parts of the mouth and they affect different parts of the body. So this is going to add a lot of energy. And you're basically just saying, Aphrodite, Aphrodite, yeah. If you do it really fast, it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. So you can do it, in any pitch. You can sing it, you can chant it. I would really recommend you do 100 of these. If you have mala beads, you could do 108. You could do 1,000,000 mantras, however many you want to do. But appreciate this and love this. And also understand when you are chanting the mantra, you are sending her the energy. So it would be valuable if you, in some way, were able to visualize the energy coming out of your mouth and going into the goddess and circulating between both of you. And the candle should be between y'all. And the energy should be going crazy, right? You're going to feel this, man. It's going to be intense. So, goddess, make love with me. Iya, Aphrodite, Iya, Iya. Iya, Aphrodite, Iya, Iya. Aphrodite, any pitch, any tone, just do it with an open heart and you'll get a good result. I would recommend no less than 10. 100 is a good amount. It's not going to take you that long. You could do 1,000. That would be amazing. And take some time to meditate in the circle as well. And this is also covered in Simplified Magic in more depth, but when you do any type of ritual or circle or sorcery, meditation is a really beautiful step to include so you can divine about how the result of this spell is going to work. And she is a real spirit plus egregore. So what I mean by, or real spirit plus egregore plus part of the collective conscious, part of your conscious. So the whole point of saying that is to say that she will talk to you. If you do this with an open heart, you're going to hear her. Because what did you say? I call to you for guidance. Share with me your secrets. Let her tell you what you need to hear. And just understand, guys, you should never believe a message that doesn't empower you. But if you come into this space and do all these things, I really advocate not to treat spirits like a vending machine. You don't just press a button and get a certain result. If you come to this with respect and trust and love, you'll be surprised what happens. It's worth coming with a journal as well, where you can write things down. So when you're done with the call, the mantra, the meditation, just say thank you, Aphrodite, for blessing me with your love, your attention, and your support. I give you my respect. I offer you my thanks and my praise. Hail unto you, Aphrodite. And I also want to say, because that's beautiful, this is optional, but I wouldn't say it if I didn't recommend it. Hail unto myself. We are gods and goddesses. Okay? And this thought might be somewhat challenging, but I say this to empower somebody. We're building relationships with these spirits, right? And it's been said before, we can't give what we don't have, right? We're diving deep into this concept of independence, right? And rejecting dependence, codependence, or parasitism. So I say this to say, man, if you don't see yourself as a god or a goddess and hail yourself, hailing these gods and goddesses doesn't mean as much as it could. Okay? Dare to see yourself as a divine being. Words are limiting by their nature. Again, that's why we have words. As far as I'm concerned, what makes you a god or a goddess is that you possess the power to create and sustain your path in this life. That's undeniable. You could argue with yourself or you could accept that. And that comes with love. I know my Leo Mercury, third house Pluto ass is kind of like powerful how I send my messages, but thank the goddess, blessed be, go about your day, use fire safety. Always keep the candle attended. Don't have any weird things around the candle, that are flammable. Be safe and divine about the spell. See how it goes and enjoy yourself. This was a longer video than I thought I would be making, but at the same time, I didn't want to leave anything out. So that's really the method, guys. You can perform this year for the Libra full moon, or you could do it any time. I would really just recommend that you align this with the lunar cycle in some way, because the moon controls the tides and the ocean and the emotion and the rhythm and the mood, okay? So generally speaking, this release part, you do well to do this around the full moon. While we start waning, do a week-long release, and it'd be really good to do this sorcery on the new moon. But at the same time, guys, don't be afraid to do this working every single day. For my overachievers who are still watching the video, I'm challenging you to do the working every day. This doesn't mean you have to do a new candle every day. If you decide to, you could do a little tea light or a little chime candle, make it easier for yourself, or even a birthday candle. The birthday candle will probably be done by the time you get done with the mantra. But call Aphrodite, build this relationship with her. For some, you may even take her on as a matron. if you really are about that love, if your heart wants it as much as I do, you know, you might make her your divine mother. Anyway, call on the goddess, bring the love into your heart. Never forget that you are love. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think about it. Are you going to do this ritual? And this is a video, and it's going to go take on a life of its own. This is my brainchild, my 5th house. I'm super excited. For those that do the ritual, come back, please, and let me know what results came as a result of the working. So make sure you like this video, make sure you bookmark or save it so you can come back and let me know later how it went. As always, guys, it's Mr. Meyer with the fire, here to take the collective vibration higher. Our sole intention, Fire family, is to reconcile all paradox with love and truth, and I love you. Take care of yourself.